guys, we are going to read chapters 6 and 7 in Viking Ships at Sunrise. Chapter 6. The Vikings are coming. Annie, Jack cried, Vikings! Annie looked out the treehouse window. Vikings? They're headed straight for the island, said Jack. He turned back to the stone steps. Where are you going? Cried Annie. To warn the monks, Jack said. I'll come too, cried Annie, and she scrambled out of the treehouse. Hurry, said Jack. Jack didn't even use the rope. He pulled himself up the steep steps with his hands. As Jack and Annie climbed up the face of the cliff, clouds began to cover the sun. When they reached the top, a fog had almost hidden the serpent's ship. Run! Cried Annie, and the fog blanketed the whole island. Jack and Annie could barely see the path to the monastery. When they arrived at the gate, the misty white world was silent. Vikings! Jack cried. Vikings! The monks are still in church, said Annie, and she yanked the bell rope. Dong, dong. Jack and Annie watched as Brother Patrick and the other monks ran out of the church. The Vikings are coming, Jack shouted. Brother Patrick's rosy face turned white. Make haste, he said to the other monks. Gather the books and hide. The monks ran into the library. Brother Patrick turned to Jack and Annie. We have a secret hiding place, a cave on the other side of the island, he said. You can come with us, but I am not certain you will be safe. Don't worry, said Jack. We're going to try to go home. Do not use the steps, Brother Patrick said. The Vikings will climb them. Then how do we get down? Said Jack. Go that way, said Brother Patrick, pointing. At the cliff's edge are two large rocks. A path between those rocks will take you down to the shore. Then you can walk around to your boat. Hey, said Annie. Be careful, said Brother Patrick. He hurried inside the library. Wait, came a thin voice as Jack and Annie turned to run. It was Brother Michael. He hobbled over to them, holding out his book of Irish tales. Take it, he said. Are you sure, Jack asked. He knew it was Brother Michael's life work. Please, said Brother Michael, it is better that the world should have some of it than none of it at all, just in case. We'll take good care of it, said Jack, and he gently placed the jeweled book in his leather bag. Good luck, said Annie. Annie and Jack waved goodbye to the old man. Then they raced to the rocks that Brother Patrick had told them about. Chapter 7. Fog Bound. At the rocks, the seagulls still screeched. Jack could barely see the steep path leading down into the fog. Go slowly, Jack whispered to Annie as they started down. Whoops, said Annie, and she slipped and fell forward, bumping into Jack. My foot got caught in my dress. Shh, said Jack. He held on to Annie, and they listened as pebbles and rocks rolled down the cliff. Jack took a deep breath. We've got to watch out for Vikings too, he whispered, and they started down the steep path again. They went one step at a time. The sound of the waves against the rocks grew louder. Finally, they stepped down onto a flat strip of pebbles. Where are we? Whispered Annie. I don't know, said Jack. Oh, look, said Annie. She pointed to the shoreline. Through the fog rose the serpent prows of the Viking ships. Jack and Annie crept closer to the ships. Their sails were down, and each ship had been tied to a tall, jagged rock. They seemed deserted as they bobbed in the shallow waves. Jack really wanted to check out the ships, but he was afraid of wasting time. We'd better find the treehouse, he said to Annie, and they crept away from the three Viking ships. Suddenly, they both froze. Through the mist, they saw a group of Viking warriors. The Vikings were looking at the top of the cliff, and their long yellow hair hung down from beneath their iron helmets. They carried round wooden shields and swords and axes. It looks like they're planning to climb the hide until they go. That we need to hide until they go, whispered Jack. Then we can look for the treehouse. Let's hide in a ship, said Annie. Good idea, said Jack, and they crept back to where the ships were tied. Jack was happy to see that the sides of the ships were very low. They would easily be able to climb over them. You go first, said Annie, and Jack waded through the shallow water. It was cold. He reached the ship and grabbed one side. He pushed himself up and onto the ship's deck. The ship jerked forward, and Jack looked at the shore. It was now 30 feet away. The ship's anchoring rope was pulled tight. The serpent prow bobbed up and down with the waves. The frog and the movement of the ship made Jack feel as if he were in a dream. For a moment, he forgot to be scared of the Vikings. This is so cool, he said. Come on, Annie. Annie started to wade out to the ships, and suddenly she disappeared. Excuse me. Annie, called Jack. Her head popped out of the water, and she splashed with her arms. It's deep, she gasped. My dress is too heavy. Use the rope, called Jack, like when we climbed the stairs. Annie grabbed the rope that stretched from ship to shore. It held her weight as she began inching along it. Hold on tight, cried Jack. I am, gasped Annie. She kept going hand over hand along the rope and towards the ship. When Annie got close to the ship, Jack reached out to help her. As he pulled her in, the side of the ship dipped down, and then the rope went slack and the Viking ship slid out to sea. Uh-oh, so Jack and Annie are now going out to sea. Do you think that was their plan?
Yes.
No. Think so? I don't think it was. I guess we'll find out what happens, because now they're going to be in the middle of the ocean. All right, we'll finish up, not the book, but we will do chapters 8 and 9 tomorrow, okay? Okay?